I'm just realizing since Joy's not watching the time, I have to be my own time watcher. Watcher of time. So I'm going to set a little 25-minute alarm for myself. Because, you know, DSLRs don't record past 29 minutes and so many seconds. So I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. Like a smart. Anyway, oh, hang on. She's answering. I should probably close that. Oh, if I close the door, the cats are going to lose their minds. But they are kind of it's a very rainy day here in Queens, and the cats are napping. But I am recording, and that usually summons them. So, you know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to close the door in case the cats cause nonsense. One moment. Okay. I'm pretty sure I last saw both cats on the bed, but no promises. Welcome to my glorious office space in my new domicile. I still have not figured out a permanent recording corner solution. So we're just gonna see how this works. What an absolutely dreary day. All right, let's make sure we're recording on Audition. We are recording on the camera. I get very nervous about that. Where's the start button? Okay. Also, baby's first teleprompter. I'll probably cut this bit because, like, who actually wants to admit they use a teleprompter? I mean, oh, are you kidding me? I just start filming and the thunder happens? Really? So let's begin. First, I want to say this video is for my fellow humans who didn't grow up learning about botany. For all those other folks who don't live in tropical areas where this stuff just exists. For like-minded sorts who sometimes look at a thing in the supermarket and wonder, huh, how did this end up in my H-Mart in Queens? Like pineapples. Be honest now, did you know they're bromeliads? The flowering species native to the tropical Americas, not the books by Terry Pratchett. Or did you know that they grow in the ground? They look like this. They're related to Spanish moss. So if you, gentle viewer, know everything there is to know about the food I'm about to discuss, I'm jealous. Oh, if only I too had emerged, fully formed from the forehead of my father, knowledgeable of all things. Oh, that would have been such a time saver. On the other hand, if you only know cashews as that nut you find in the store, please, come on this journey with me. Okay, I'm just gonna get right into it. This is what a cashew looks like on the tree. Admit it. This isn't what you were expecting. This is pineapples all over again. It's like a boxing glove or a giant kidney bean, and it's wearing this wild bell pepper garden gnome hat. What's going on here? Okay, so the boxing glove kidney bean at the base houses the cashew nut, and the bell pepper garden gnome hat is the cashew apple. Yes, cashew apple. Turns out there's a lot more to our cashews than their nuts. I walked right into that. But cashew apples aren't even botanically a fruit. They are a pseudo fruit. So think of pseudo fruits as the super swollen stalk to the actual fruit. So you can eat it, but it's not technically the fruit of the cashew. That would be the cashew nut, which technically isn't a nut. Hold on to your botanists. The definition of a fruit is that it is the seed-bearing structure in angiosperms formed from the ovary after flowering, and are the means to which many plants disseminate seeds. Now again, there's no seed in the cashew apple because it's not the fruit, just the swollen stalk that you can also enjoy. The actual fruit grows at the bottom of said swollen stalk. I should probably stop saying swollen stalk. Now the cashew nut, which is the fruit, develops first, and that fruit is actually a drupe. Okay, first off, I'm not a botanist, I just think they're pretty neat. So let's talk about the difference between true nuts and drupes. A true nut is a hard-shelled pod that contains both the fruit and seed of the plant in the shell, like chestnuts, hazelnuts, and acorns. A drupe is where the outer fleshy part surrounds a shell, or what you might call the pit, and the seed is inside. Now here's where you might be confused. A lot of what we eat are drupes. Think peaches and cherries and other stone fruit. Throughout history, we've cultivated certain species that we just go wild for their fleshy bits. There are some exceptions where we can't eat the outer fleshy part, but we go gaga for the seeds inside. Think walnuts, almonds, and our friends, the cashew. That fleshy outer part just isn't good eating for humans. Like where I'm from, we have native black walnuts, and they're amazing. It's like eating the true essence of a walnut elevated. It's like what God intended walnuts to be. But when they drop, they have a kind of tough greenish skin that turns black, and if you're fool enough to try to remove that skin without gloves, you will stain your skin for weeks. Which is why black walnut husks are so popular for natural dyeing. I mean, it takes forever, but you end up with, I think, a very lovely shade of brown. Anyway, the cashew skin won't do something so harmless as stain your skin for weeks. Oh no, it's much more hardcore than that. Cashews are like trying to remove anti-theft tags from clothes. You'll ruin your day if you don't do it properly. Because protecting that cashew seed, the thing we like to eat, is a double shell which contains a resin in honeycomb-like cells, and that resin is toxic. Cashew nuts are basically booby-trapped. No. Look, it's just nasty. But it's not gonna kill you. Just, you don't want to eat it raw. Which is kind of hilarious when you consider it's like the pillar food of the raw food movement. So cashews are in the same family as mangoes, pistachios, sumac, and poison ivy. Which is why I'm a little hesitant to try cashew apple juice because I'm kind of allergic to mangoes. It's my one allergy. Do you know how often I've triggered my allergy because I thought, well, maybe it isn't as bad as I remember, and then my mouth breaks out for 2 weeks and everything is cracked and oozing? Why did it have to be mangoes? What mango god did I displease? Anyway, many plants in this family produce urushiol, a toxic oil that can cause a nasty, painful rash. Like when you set up your tent on a patch of poison ivy. Or for me, make the mistake of eating a mango. Which, supposedly, urushiol is only present in the peel of the mango, and yet, rashes. In my mouth. It sucks. I just need to spring for an allergy test. There might be other fruit out there lying in wait for me. Now, cashews, like mangoes, produce anacardic acid, which is the acid form of urushiol. Now, when this issue was first described to me, it sounded way worse than it is. But it's just that you don't want to bite down on an unshelled cashew, and you don't want to try to open it with your bare hands. To quote Jan van Lichthouten, who lived in Goa in the 1580s, these cashews have a chestnut, as big, better, and more savory to eat, but they must be roasted. When they are raw and unroasted, you must not open them with your mouth, for as soon as you put them to your mouth, they make both your tongue and your lips to smart. I mean, it's no death apple of the Caribbean, but wear gloves. Now you're probably wondering, how do we figure out how to eat this one? Well, cashew apples are easy. It makes sense why the indigenous Tupi of Brazil cultivated them. We'll get back to the Tupi. The cashew apples are fibrous but full of juice. In areas like Latin America and the West Indies, the fruit is incredibly popular, but it's difficult to transport because they're so delicate. Fun fact, cashew apples start fermenting within 24 hours of falling from the tree. Drunk livestock and other animals are a thing, but we'll come back to that fun fact in a bit. So the fruit is oftentimes made into juice, fermented, or dried, and tends to be only locally available unless you're a restaurant or a deli or something flying in frozen cashew apples so folks can get that taste of home. Trust me, Big Beverage is trying to find a market for this stuff, but we'll get to that. But first, I want to make something very clear. In researching cashews, I found a lot of writing that said how cashews were discovered by the Portuguese in 1587. This pisses me off. Cashews, like many other amazing foods, are native to Brazil, especially the northeast region. It was cultivated by the Tupi, an indigenous people of Brazil who called it acaju, which either means nut that produces itself or to pucker the mouth. Yay! Conflicting sources! It's been suggested that the Tupi learned you could eat the nut inside from watching capuchin monkeys, but this is a little chicken and the egg kind of situation. Humans, we're smart, we're observant. We tend to test plants that we have seen other animals eat first. But did the Tupi watch the monkeys, who, by the way, use rocks to break open the cashew nuts, and then were like, oh, we could eat those? Or did the monkeys figure out the rock thing from watching humans? Mind you, capuchin monkeys are one of 3 non-human primates that use stone tools. The others are chimpanzees and the long-tailed macaque. But we've only archaeologically placed the use of stones as tools by capuchin back to like 600 years, whereas chimps have been in the Stone Age for 4,700 years. Yeah, there is archaeology for non-human primates. Sit with that for a bit. And do not misunderstand me. If the Tupi learned this one easy trick from a non-human primate instead of the other way around, in my book that puts the Tupi miles ahead of white people and what they did when they found out about corn from Native Americans. The short answer is white people didn't listen. We could have saved so many lives if we had just, I don't know, listened to Native Americans about how they prepare their corn. But no, we really looked at corn and went,
what, like it's hard?
Anyway, we know that the Portuguese learned from the Tupi how to roast the nuts over fire to release the caustic oil. They also wrote that the Tupi drank the juice for the conservation of the stomach and ate the nuts for good breath. The bark is still also made into a tea to treat diarrhea. Oh, and they also learned how to ferment the cashew apple juice into a fragrant and delicious wine, which the Portuguese then further distilled into brandy. Now that was the innovation the Portuguese provide. I will give them that. It was the drink of choice for Brazilian slave owners. So no, the Portuguese didn't discover shit. But they did spread cashews around the world. Oh, wait. Hang on. Wait a minute. Can you see this? Oh, I really need to clean this. Give it a good buffing. So this is so cool. Do you know what this is? This is actually a cigarette holder. You put the cigarettes in here. I don't use it for that. I've been trying to figure out if I can make it like a lollipop holder or something. Maybe like candy cigarettes. But anyway, it's super cool. I got it once at a flea market. Illustrative globe. The Portuguese took the cashew from, about here. I mean, it's a very tiny globe. So like from here, and they do. I mean, there's some debate whether or not Mozambique actually got cashews first, but like it's not a race, people. It's still colonialism and the spread of non-native plants. Who really wants to be first in that sort of thing? Anyway, so so the Portuguese take the cashew tree to Goa, India, which was the hub of the Portuguese commercial empire, to serve as soil retainers. Okay, one day we're going to talk about how the Inquisition wasn't abolished in Goa until 1812. Napoleon was emperor. We were 3 years from Waterloo, and there was still an Inquisition? Anyway, the cashew traveled the old colonizing trade routes, ending up in places like Vietnam, Sri Lanka, China, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, the West Indies, Nigeria, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Kenya, to name a few. It was a hot commodity. To quote Father J.S. Tavares, it furnishes food and household remedies for the poor, a refreshing beverage to the sick, a sweetmeat for tables richly served, and resin and good timber for industrial uses. Yay! Colonialism spreading non-native species. Love it. You love to see it. Although white people were also claiming that cashews provoked lust. I don't know, it's almost like when you have access to food and you're not starving, you might end up feeling frisky. I'm going to start a running tally of every food that was cited as provoking or inspiring lust. Top 10. I should do a top 10 list. Funny story. In 1895, Mozambique actually condemned the cashew tree as a source of vice and ruin. They even outlawed cashew cultivation to curtail drinking. Because again, you can ferment the cashew apple juice. For example, in Goa, they brew it into a drink called feni. There was even a push to give it a geographical indication tag, or GI, which it got in 2009. So like how if it's not from the Champagne region, it's just sparkling wine, or how tequila is from Mexico, it can only be called Feni if produced in Goa. Or you could just drink it unfermented. In Brazil, order a suco de caju. Or if you're in Thailand, pick up some cashewy. Of course, it's still a little hard to get your hands on commercially because it still tends to be hyper localized. So far. So let's talk about Pepsi. Food and beverage producers are always looking for the next big superfood to flood a new market with. And back in 2014, the New York Times reported about how PepsiCo India, with the help of the Clinton Foundation, started looking into how to turn the waste product of small cashew farmers in India into the next coconut water. They were researching how to improve cultivation in areas like the Ratnagiri district in India, which is the western coast south of Mumbai, while creating a new global market for this otherwise unused product. Now, in this 2014 article, they said that starting next year, cashew juice will go into a mixed fruit juice sold in India under the Tropicana label, replacing more expensive juices like apple, pineapple, and banana. Eventually, the company hopes to add it to the drinks around the world. Just one small problem. Remember how cashew apples start fermenting in the first 24 hours after they're harvested? That's a risk for us. We can't have Tropicana with alcohol in it. Oh, somebody sounds like they're a real Tropicana. Although, so help me, there are claims that the juice melts fat, which, how has this not been picked up by Goop? It's been 7 years, PepsiCo. Where's my new miracle superfood? Oh god, no, I'm joking. Please, spare us. Don't tempt us with another miracle superfood. We can't handle it. We will lose our minds. But PepsiCo weren't the only ones trying to make gold out of cashew apples. In January 2016, TechnoServe, a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit that has a presence in 29 African nations, began partnering with 4 local entrepreneurs to squeeze cashew apples and produce a tangy juice drink called Sweet Benin. Even the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Catholic Relief Services were involved in creating this new industry in West Africa. And the industry is growing, even though they had to run ads refuting the Benin superstition that drinking the juice of the cashew apple is fatal. Ah, murder juice. It's delicious. At the moment, the cashew apple hasn't pinged the interest of places like the USA, though we're still one of the top 3 importers of shelled cashew nuts. We have a voracious appetite for cashew nuts, ever since they first began their spread in the global market in the 1920s. That cashew nut global industry began with Indian entrepreneurs hiring mostly women to do the hard, often painful labor of removing the cashew nut from that toxic shell. For decades, Kollam, India was the cashew nut capital of the world, though it wasn't until the 70s that salaries rose, healthcare improved, pensions were instituted, among other protections for workers. And while cashew processing was still hard labor, these jobs kept families out of poverty. And then American companies like Walmart wanted cheaper cashews. By the 2010s, Vietnam figured out how to mechanize parts of cashew nut processing, while also getting flagged by the Human Rights Watch in 2011 for using the forced labor of drug addicts in rehab. Vietnam went from being one of the largest growers of cashews to one of the largest processors of cashew nuts as well. They are now the largest importer of unshelled cashews and the largest exporter of shelled cashews in the world, which again Americans are consuming quite a bit of. Which really hurt the economy of places like Kollam, India. In trying to keep wages and jobs from being cut by implementing greater mechanization, processors have just moved their plants to where they can get away with that in an attempt to keep up with Vietnam. And I'm not trying to say Vietnam is the bad guy here. Vietnam is just another actor of the global economy. And those cashew processors in Vietnam know that what they did to India will happen to them with time. When Vietnamese cashew buyers arrive in the up-and-coming growing regions of Africa to buy raw nuts, they say that increasingly they find local government officials have one request. In addition to being paid for the cashew nuts they grow, they want to know where they can get some of those machines that process them. The value chain is always moving. We're trying to focus on adding value to the finished product. At some point, the African countries will be processing the nuts for us. And that, my friends, is the cost of cheap cashews. A thank you to my ear lenders: Sarah Hammer, Catherine Escobar, Spectral Ghost, Jason Lucas, John Smith, Allison J., Avi Finkel, Johan Gustafsson, Chandra, William Christopher, Steve Harper, and Xanthan Pink. Alright, had to actually step away for a bit and charge my battery again because the recording went on for so long. But now it comes the time in the show where we do postcards. As ever, I'm a little behind, but that's okay. We're going to play catch up. So this postcard here is undated, which is a little weird. It appears to be a bookstore, King Books. This is the John K. King Used in Rare Books in Detroit, Michigan, 1965 to present. So it's a lovely, lovely little portrait of the place. And it reads, "Dear Nella, I've written to you before and wanted to send a follow-up. We all need pick-me-ups during these between times. You and me both. I'm listening to you and Raven's latest podcast episode. I agree, Marian Jackson is the best." She really is, isn't she? "I was reading an article about White House pets and discovered a fact that made my face clearer and watered my crops. Billy Possum, the answer to the teddy bear. It is hilarious on so many levels. Thank you for the joy in your videos and podcast brings. Heart, Stacy." Thank you, Stacy. I have no idea who Billy Possums is, and now I'm going to have to look them up. So I can't wait to be delighted. Next. So here we have a card. This, now we're getting into February, and, I'm just realizing I could have dated the other card based on when After Worlds Collides come out, but I just want to get on with postcards. So if everyone feel free to do the sleuthing on your own. But this card, whoa, how nice. It's a lovely card because you make life sweet. And it's got like macaroons. They're stickers. This person sent me stickers. They're so cute. These are autumn dragons. They're precious. And then just look at these, this is such an eclectic mix. It's like cats and dogs and sloths and tacos and robots. Why not? But this person writes, "Love listening and watching all of your work. Hope you and yours are having a great heart day." And that's from Sarah Jane. Thank you so much, Sarah. Much appreciate the stickers. I adore them. I cannot wait to just stick them on things, as it says on the tin. Although I was 100% one of those kids that, I didn't like putting stickers on things because then it was but then I can't put the sticker anywhere else. And what if I have to throw out this folder or do this or do that? And, I lose the sticker forever. And so I never put stickers on things. Next. Here we have another postcard from February. We have Giant Spider and Damon. This definitely looks like some very peculiar kind of sci-fi romance cover. And it reads, it's a Jenny Nicholson joint. Jenny, I missed the guy with the spider. I'm sorry, I only have so many hours in my day to watch everyone else's stuff on YouTube, and I somehow completely missed the giant spider. On Redbubble. I feel like I'm never gonna live this one down. So this one reads, and I'm assuming this is the letter that you wanted because this one's a little hard to read, but it reads, "I hope this postcard finds you so far. I thought it was just odd enough to warrant being sent. Hope you are doing well." Well, I am doing well. Thank you for sending the postcard. I'm sorry I got it back in February and I'm only now getting to read it online, and now I have the additional shame of not instantly recognizing one of Jenny Nicholson's gags. That's on me. So now we get into the March cards. All right, so we have this it's kind of like an abstract, well, not an abstract, it's just more of a really, there's an art word for this and it's just not coming to mind. It is a rainy day, the rainiest of days, and my brain just isn't. But it's a really cool stylized water bird with a fish, a Ningha water turkey from the Charlie Harper Art Studio. And this one reads, "A modern bird this time. It's totally my second postcard, but your videos have been a real delight. Most recently learning a little more about NYC's boroughs. Yes, I had to double check the spelling. Anyway, I hope you're happy in your new home. From temporarily sunny Seattle, Katie." Katie, that's so funny. I'm reading this on what has been a truly, truly, absolutely rainy Memorial Day weekend, which is partially why I was able to work on this video in the first place. So, hey, Anyway, thanks, Katie, for sending a second postcard. I really appreciate it. Next, here we have another letter with a beautiful pink envelope and a Christmas stamp. This card hails from Buffalo, so I look forward to seeing what is in store. Also arrived, or at least was stamped by the post office in March. So this reads, Dear Nella, my name is Meredith. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I thought I would send you a list of some of my favorite words to say thanks for all the years of fun video. Yours, Meredith. I'm not going to read them all the words out loud, because some of these I just know I'm not going to pronounce correctly. But of your favorite words that you've listed, I would say my favorites are moist. I have great fondness for defenestration for reasons that should be apparent at this juncture. I enjoy your inclusion of nonplussed. I feel like nonplussed is one of those words that you always have to say, like, nonplussed. Like, you have to give it a weird accent, or what's the point then? But thank you. I love a note like this. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Meredith. Next, how did this get through the mail? This is a piece of wood. I'm delighted. This is a fantastic souvenir from Yosemite. Like, and oh, is that, I know those falls. One family trip we did go to Yosemite, and like I managed to talk my family into letting me do like a open air watercolor, and we watercolored in view of these falls. So I definitely somewhere have a 16-year-old's version of these falls in watercolor. So, and I'm pretty sure it's also dotted with a bunch of really weird spots because the bug spray got on my watercolor pad, and the watercolor just had nothing. It didn't want anything to do with the bug spray. So, but really dig this card. So this is from DK Jones. Good to see you again too, DK. Hi Nella, I saw this nifty postcard while on a trip to Yosemite with my in-laws and thought you might enjoy it, and I do. It is beautiful up here, and I am particularly enjoying the random cairns people have made, which I'm told hikers and archaeologists have different opinions on. Thank you for all you do, DK Jones. Cairns, oh bless. I mean, they're useful when you're hiking, you know? I mean, nobody likes to get lost. But thanks for sending. Next. Oh no, look at this kitten. It's like my cat's. It's like a gray soft boy. It reads, the pussycat sleeps all day, lazy, cute cats. I love it. This card is from May 4th, and it reads, Dear Nella, my friend AJ got me hooked on Apocalypse C, and I've come to love Nella Explains as well. Your video brings me the joy of knowing someone else shares my utter rage at some things and pure joy at others. Hashtag, oh my god, archaeology. Yes. I follow the saga of linear A decipherment like it's sports ball. That's delightful. Heart Candace from Chicago. P.S. Your Doomsman episode fed my crops and watered my children. Well, one must always keep one's children watered. It's, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend watering your children. Next. This is cool. So this is an image of a very tiny Statue of Liberty in view of the Eiffel Tower. So obviously we must be in gay old Paris. Vive la France. And, this person wrote sideways. So let us read. Dear Nella, greetings from Paris. Thank you for the videos you upload. I really enjoy learning more about U.S. history. Also, you really make me want to visit NYC. Please do. We love visitors. Don't believe people who are like, tourists. No, we like tourists. Just don't waste our time. That's the one easy trick to not getting on New Yorkers' bad side is just don't waste time. If you get lost, just step to the side. You can ask for directions. We actually really love giving directions. In fact, if you ask directions of somebody and there's other people in earshot, you might get more than one set of directions, and then people might end up debating which would be the actual better subway to take. I've seen it. I've participated in this. It's like a time-honored New York City tradition. Anyway, back to the card. I'm sure you know there's a Statue of Liberty here too, on a tiny river island flooded in the picture. It was donated to the city by the Comité des Américains de Paris. No one should ever, ever, ever ask me to pronounce anything that's French. Anyway, I used to think that this was a smaller replica of the New York statue, but some proud Parisians claim that this statue comes from one of the molds the original artist used to develop and test the design of the New York statue. So in a way, it's New York statue that's a bigger replica of this one. Anyway, I just wish France and the US kept the tradition of gifting each other increasingly smaller versions of the same statue. Keep it up with the good content, best Ricardo. Yeah, no, the back and forth of trying to make the Statue of Liberty happen is actually a really fascinating history, right down to even they had to pay for the thing that helped pay for the pedestal that the Statue of Liberty stands on was like a penny campaign of school children, because they were trying to drum up support, and it was like, well, just mail us like a penny, and it became this big fundraising thing, because like if kids can raise the money, so can you, kind of thing. But it's a really cool story, and like the history of the Statue of Liberty, like, you know, I got feelings about it. She's a good girl. I'm glad she's in our harbor. So next, here we have a picture of well, it's a little cut off by the tag on the bottom, but it does say Hopewell Rocks, which I believe are in New Brunswick, and it's a gorgeous shot of what a beautiful geological feature. Delightful. Look at that erosion. I always love things like this when you have like the trees and stuff growing on top, and I'm just like, I want to frolic there, but I can't. So this reads, "Greetings from Canada. Hope you're doing well. My husband and I love your videos. We especially liked the apple history video, given my husband's family runs an orchard. Hope this year brings good things to you. Sincerely, J and S." Well, thank you so much, J and S. I really, really appreciate the card. It's a gorgeous card. Like, love it. Love a good landscape. Who doesn't? Next. So this one's got some fun design going on. There's a lot going on with this one. We've got the Signs of Branson. This is obviously an old card. So it reads, "Dear Nella, greetings from Powder Springs, Georgia. I found this vintage Branson card at an antique mall in North Carolina. I hope you like it. I love your vids, and I hope you're doing well. Take care of your awesome self." And I believe it's Mike. I'm pretty sure that's Mike. But I want to thank you. Yes, I do love a good vintage card, especially when it's like something that is just so dated, but also just so hyper-localized. Like, I didn't know Branson loved its neon, but this delights me. I love this. Thank you. Next. So now we're definitely in May now, which, considering this video should be released out into the wild early June, it's almost like I've caught up or something. Amazing. So here we have a letter. So let's see. What's it say? And it's a note from Robert, who'd sent some postcards before. And, you know, there's quite a bit of writing, so I'll hold on reading the whole thing. But I just want to let you know, Robert, you have not caused me any embarrassment. I love reading postcards online, and I hope you will consider sending more in the future. So I do appreciate that sort of thing. And last but not least, we have a whole package, technically from January, but I wanted to save the big package for last. You know, it's a whole envelope. So this I got in January, and I have not yet filmed. I was still catching up the last couple of times I filmed, but now we are caught up, so I can finally open this. I'm so excited. Okay, so what was in the package? Oh no, this is amazing. It is a wallet that looks like a copy of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Like, it's a little wallet book, and it appears to be from Novel Book Wallets on Etsy. So this is delightful. Oh, it's got like a little turnip in the corner. Oh, that's so cute. This is delightful. Thank you. All right, now let's see who it's from. Dear Nella, your unfortunately timely podcast has greatly entertained me. I found this wallet on Kickstarter and thought you might appreciate it. Thanks for all you do, Will. Will, thank you so much for this gift. I regret I wasn't able to open it on air before, but now that it is open, I can't wait to use it. So thank you again. And if you would like to send me a postcard, there are details of how to do so in the description below. I love a postcard. I love notes, I love drawings, I love stickers. I can never say no to a sticker. And if you join on Patreon at least the country folk level, I will send you a postcard. And sometimes if you still provide your address and I've got a postcard backlog, sometimes I go through it by sending some one-off postcards to people who have supported me for quite a long time. So if you'd like to, please support me on Patreon. You not only be supporting me, but also money goes to my friend Raven and to our podcast, the Apocalypse Book Club, where we're reading all apocalyptic fiction in chronological order. And now that we're firmly out of public domain books and we are deeply into books that are out of print, we're having to order them online. And your support helps us buy those books so we can continue our long, long, long road through so many apocalypses. Like, look at this. This is the latest book that I have to read. We were only able to find one copy, and so Raven read it first. And already she's supposedly she's written notes on what she thinks my reaction will be to one particular segment. So now I'm just like, oh no. What's it going to be? This one's called The Lord of Life by Neil Bell, and I've got to read this before like mid-June. So you know what? I signed up for this. I do this for you. So, but anyway, thank you all again for your support and for sending me postcards, and see you next time.